Still on Eskom, it's preparing itself for the findings of the Zondo Commission. The utility is seeking legal services with experience with the Commission. But the Black Lawyers Association is accusing it of intentionally excluding black firms. The association claims the tender requirements favour few law firms. For more on this, we're joined by the BLA's Deputy President, Bayethe Maswazi. Bayethe, good afternoon, and thank you very much for your time. You know, when I saw this letter circulating, it actually, by BLA to Eskom, it actually reminded me of this age-old problem of briefing patterns that clearly is far from being resolved. Now, in that letter that we saw, you're instructing Eskom to cancel its current tender for the provision of legal services related to matters emanating from the State Capture Commission. Talk to me about the issues that you've noted with their RFP.
Yes, we have noted that in as much as the request for tender is directed generally for legal services, but they have allocated a disproportionate amount of points for those few firms that were involved in the State Capture Commission. We feel that that is unfair because there is quite a number of other firms that are based all over the country that are experienced enough to participate in the intended investigation, even though they were not part of the State Capture Commission. After all, the State Capture Commission was about the investigation of maladministration, corruption, fraud. All these are nothing peculiar to what the legal services that they need. So they should open up the space for other people to participate as well, if they are to live up to their own transformative goals.
You know, I don't hold the brief for Eskom, of course, but in their absence today, could we perhaps assume that this was based on a need to perhaps fast-track the prosecutions where briefing lawyers who were not present or unfamiliar with the matters would take more time and money because practitioners, in essence, do charge for reading all those voluminous documents? Could it be that, perhaps?
No, it can't be that. Even those that participated in the state capture, when they receive those instructions, they will definitely engage in the process of reading the document in the same way that those who were not part of the State Capture Commission could do. So it is not about easing up the process of the investigation. But most importantly, as I've said, that tender is not only for the investigation of state capture outcomes. It is also for the provision of other legal services. And to target a few firms that participate in the State Capture Commission is unfair, in our view.
So have you now been able to engage them beyond that letter, or they haven't reached out to you as yet?
They have not reached out to us. I have also written to the presidency, the Minister of Public Enterprise and the Minister of Justice. We are hoping that they will also live up to the commitments they have made to us as BLA insofar as changing the landscape of unfair briefing patterns.
You know, this is an area of concern, honestly speaking, broadly speaking, the briefing patterns, because if we talk about legal resources, the greatest consumer is government itself. We've seen now with State Attorney that they have some sort of a new system that seeks to correct this, where we will have certain advocates briefed and then 3 months later they're only briefed again. It's not something that is consistent. Is that trying to help, or it's actually caused more problems in the system?
Many of the measures that have been put in place by even the State Attorney haven't worked, largely as a result of, in some instances, mismanagement of the processes themselves, as well as an absence of monitoring. And some State Attorney's office all over the country are manned by acting individuals. So it is difficult for them to take groundbreaking, important decisions. So we are hoping that the commitments that have been made by government, they will live up to them, because they've actually made quite important commitments insofar as the changing of briefing patterns in the country.
So beyond this matter now with Eskom that is going to play out, hopefully we'll have them in studio to at least give us their version of why exactly they would have this preference of those that were part of the State Capture Commission. But beyond this, what more are you doing to correct or have black lawyers exposed to very complex cases, be it pension fund cases, you name it, because there's quite a lot of cases that are very, very highly professionalized or would need a high expertise, but we're not seeing a lot of our young black professionals being brought on as juniors to some of these senior councils.
We have written to government. We have marched. You will recall that in 2017 we were the only organization that was engaged in a public picket at the Union Building. We have engaged the Solicitor General. We have engaged with various entities such as banks, insurance companies to ensure that they change their briefing patterns. So this is an ongoing process of making sure that we achieve a transformative approach towards decisions relating to briefing patterns.
We remember that picket, but some within your profession could still criticize BLA that, yes, you've had your pickets, but clearly the problems are still there for black professionals or younger professionals, new entrants into this profession, that even when it comes to state attorney paying them on time, it's still a problem. So BLA on that, are you really agitating for change enough or vociferously on behalf of those in your profession?
It would be unfair to blame us for the efforts that we've embarked upon. The people that should shoulder the blame is the decision makers within government that have been refusing to change.
All right. No, Bayethe, thank you very much for that. We'll hopefully bring you on a bit later if it goes in your favor, or at least just to bring Eskom and get their response. Thank you very much for that. That's Bayethe Maswazi, Deputy President of the Black Lawyers Association. They've written to Eskom saying that, in fact, they need to cancel that tender and start afresh, have new requirements for the tender for legal services that shouldn't exclude those that were not brought on board for the State Capture Commission inquiry as attorneys.